Hey friends, it's Michelle from Little Farm in the Valley. So I have some more tomatoes from my garden. The tomatoes are kind of winding down. It's going fast. The garden is going down fast, especially with the colder temperatures at night. But I do need some more salsa, so I would like to make another batch of salsa at least while I still have most of the ingredients in the garden. I really think I should make another batch of salsa. So that's my plan for today, but I'm gonna switch things up just a little bit and do a couple things different in this salsa that I normally do. It'll still kind of be the same recipe. I'll just be using a few different techniques than I usually do, so it's going to be pretty interesting. But yeah, salsa making is what's happening today on the farm.
Yeah.
So this time around, I'm actually trying an experiment. I'm going to put my tomatoes in bags, especially these Roma, since they're so hard to peel. I'm going to put them in bags in the freezer. And the idea is you don't need to blanch them, because once they're out of the freezer and you put them in warm water and let them thaw, the skin will slip right off. And I tried it yesterday. I took like 5 of these Roma. These have been here for weeks, so you can tell they're not exactly fresh picked, but these are my last tomatoes and I really need more salsa. So anyway, I took like 5 of these, put them in a bag in the freezer, and then I took them out and they were thawed for maybe 2 hours or so. Then I put them under warm water and the skin slipped right off. I was able to pretty much do it one-handed. So we're gonna put all these in bags like Stetson just did. and get them in the freezer for tomorrow. It's too heavy for you? Okay, we'll fill a couple more bags, get everything in the freezer as soon as we can. So here are my frozen Roma tomatoes. So the idea is the Roma tomatoes are so difficult to peel that I saw this thing on, I think on Facebook, where you freeze them, then you put them in warm water. There's a couple in here that are not Romas. You put them in warm water and the skin is supposed to slip right off. So we don't have to blanch these tomatoes to peel them. So let's test out this idea. I have about 4 more bags in the freezer that we're gonna do. So we'll do 1 bag at a time and see how this goes. I have a feeling though, since they were frozen, it's gonna add some liquid. So my salsa might be, you know, a lot more volume because of all the liquid from these tomatoes. But the thing is, I'm actually gonna cook the salsa tomorrow. So the tomatoes, if I get them all peeled and diced today, I could have them on some kind of a drain to catch the juice. And I can always add some more liquid. I'll save that juice just in case we need it. But I'll have to see if I can get them peeled today. Like I said, I have 4 more bags. It's just gonna be a matter of how far I get today. Let's see. I did this with like 5 Romas yesterday. Like I put them in a bag and tried this, and I think it worked. They're just, they get more difficult to peel as they lay in the garage, I suppose. They get a little bit tough or something. So, but honestly, I think soaking them in the warm water is gonna do a lot. I mean, that peeled fairly easy, but the cold tomatoes have cooled my water off, so I'm gonna add some more hot water. And I think this is gonna work. Am I gonna wanna do this all the time for my salsa making? Maybe not, but definitely, I bet when I have aromas, I'll probably wanna do it because I just have a time with peeling aromas. They're just a little bit difficult. These weren't solid frozen yet. Maybe that makes a difference. That's why I left the other 4 bags in the freezer for later. So they'll be more and more frozen as I take them out. I don't know. It's easier so far than blanching them. But yeah, I think I'll let them soak in some hot water for maybe 15 minutes or something. Then I'll come back and see about peeling them. I mean, they're not mush. They're pretty good, solid to work with still. The problem that I often have with blanching is my tomatoes are complete mush by the time they're blanched, and there's sometimes not even a shape to them. Very nice. This one peels really good. But then there's the ones that are, it's the ones that are a little on the orange side that are harder. See, I know this one's going to be hard regardless. So yeah, I mean, I see a lot of them that I can tell are going to be really easy, and then I see some of the ones with orange that are going to be a little bit more difficult. So maybe at the end of the video, after I peel 4 or 5 bags of these, I'll have determined whether or not this is better than blanching and peeling them. I'll have to see what I think after I've done 4 bags worth of this. I honestly think it's because of the fact that these are not fully ripe, even though they're red inside. The outside, I mean, there's these that are much easier. So who knows? Just Romas can be a little bit difficult. I actually used most of my Romas to make tomato paste, so I wasn't really dealing with them before in my salsa, but I'm down to only Romas and needing more salsa, so otherwise I wouldn't have had to use these. Yeah, I'll let them soak for a while yet. So I think this one's an Amish paste tomato. Well, that's coming right off. So yeah, maybe after 4 or 5 bags of these, I'll have an idea whether this was good or not. So here's the tomatoes I did yesterday. This was a little bit difficult because remember we put the tomatoes in the freezer in the morning and I took them out around 3 or 4, so they weren't completely frozen through yet, and it was a little bit difficult. You probably saw me having to peel them with a knife, a lot of them. So I left the other 2 bags in the freezer overnight, and I think this is gonna go a lot better because they were totally frozen through. And as they're thawing here, I can tell, well, some of them might still be a little difficult, but I can tell a lot of them will be pretty easy. So I think if I had left all of them in the freezer, but I wanted to get an early start today, so I'm done with about half of them. I mean, I can see some are gonna be easier and some are gonna be a little difficult. So I think my conclusion with this freezing method is, for the Romas, it's a good idea, but for tomatoes that aren't Roma, like these, I think I'll probably just stick to blanching them. So I guess I better keep going so I can get my salsa on. another thing that I'm going to try with this particular batch of salsa today is I'm going to smoke some of the vegetables. I'm going to smoke the onions and the peppers, the bell peppers. I won't do the hot ones because I've already cut those up. So I have the smoker going, and I'm going to at least cut the onions in half, if not in fourths. But the peppers I'm going to put on there whole. So I cut my onions in half and laid them down, and the peppers I have whole. So I'm going to close the smoker and just let them go for a while. So some of my peppers are already soft. I can tell that they've changed color a little. And yeah, they're definitely feeling soft. So I'm just going to turn them and give them a char on the other side. Have my smoker set to, I think the lowest setting, 225. See, that's what I'm worried about, is my onions coming apart. Let's try to be as careful as I can. So I'll just give them 5 or 10 minutes on the other side as well, then I'm going to take them off. So I'm going to put out the seeds, and then I'm going to see if I can use my little dicer tool to dice them. I've never tried dicing anything that was soft. These peppers got quite soft, so I'm thinking I won't have to cook my salsa very long, because the tomatoes in the freezer are going to be a little bit mushy too. So yeah, I'm going to keep reseeding these peppers, and then I'm going to put the peppers and the onions through the dicer. Anyway, I'm going to try to. But yeah, I can definitely smell a lot of smoky on these peppers and onions. Finally have all of my tomatoes in the pot. I'm gonna bring them to a boil, cook them for a couple minutes before I add my other ingredients. So my tomatoes have been bubbling for quite a while, maybe a half hour. So I'm going to add my onions. Remember, we smoked these yesterday. And this is actually pretty much the first time that I've ever made salsa without celery, just because I don't have any celery on hand, and I know a lot of people make salsa without celery, but it feels a little bit wrong to me because I like celery in salsa. So I don't know if I can overcome the feeling that I'm that I'm doing something way wrong here, but we'll see how it is, I guess. So our peppers that we also smoked. I'm thinking I will not have to cook this salsa very long because the peppers that we cooked and the onions on the grill are quite soft already. Plus the tomatoes that were in the freezer, that makes them a little bit softer than normal too. So we might cook it for just an hour, hour and a half maximum, I'm thinking. So my seasonings, I have vinegar, sugar, salt, lemon pepper, and minced garlic. I can tell my sugar is kind of laying on the bottom here, so I'm going to take a spatula. Stir all that up. So, first time making smoked salsa. This will be interesting. So now we just bring it to a boil and then we'll start timing it for about an hour. And around an hour I'll have to make a judgment call whether I think it's ready or I want to cook it some more. We may or may not take off some juice. As the salsa boils, normally juice will rise to the top like that, and we can ladle it off if we think it's too much. So now we wait for it to boil. Meanwhile, I'm going to get my jars ready, my water bath canner, and all that good stuff. I think this is the stuff that I'm picking out of here is pepper skins. Those skins got pretty shriveled up on the smoker yesterday. All right, now we wait. So we're going to ladle off some of the juice. I just have a measuring bowl that with a sieve that fits over it. So I'm just gonna grab this liquid that's coming to the top here. I'm just going to keep doing this in batches. Stir it up, let it cook for a while, see how much liquid comes to the top, until it's the consistency that I like. Cooking along very nicely. These tomatoes are Roma, so they're kind of a paste tomato. And all this foam on the top is more than likely the beginnings of tomato paste. So my salsa's been cooking for an hour now. My timer just went off. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and put this in jars. So I'm gonna call it ready. I have a little bit in a bowl to taste. So I'm gonna do that. And if I'm happy with everything, I'm gonna turn off my pot and get ready to jar it. I mainly want to see if I can get, if I can taste that smokiness from the peppers and the onions. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely a good hint of smokiness in that. Also, I think cooking it for an hour is just right. Everything is soft. It's got a nice heat to it and that great smoky flavor. I really like it.